Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another edition of Where I Went Wrong. And in this edition of Where I Went Wrong, I'll be doing Where I Went Wrong, UFC Fight Night, Dos Anjos versus Fiziev, or Rafael Dos Anjos versus Rafael Fiziev, or UFC Vegas 58. So first, Where I Went Wrong is, I didn't do the Where I Went Wrong last week. I went 9-2 and 1, but that's last week. I still do Where I Went Wrongs, what I get 10, well, if I went perfect, should I do it? I probably still would do it. Or I might say where I went right. But that'd probably be the only case I would do it where I went right if I went completely perfect. But if I even had one loss, I would do where I went wrong. So, even if I had one. So, but time passed, and even right now, time has passed a little bit for this video. But I'm getting a little bit too in it. So with this card, I went 6-5. My Hello Darkness, my own friend. I said my own friend. Hello Darkness, my old friend. Went 6-5 on this card. It was a weird card, bizarre card to say the least. Anytime Sherman wins on a card, that's bizarre, especially where his trajectory was going. But I'll get more to where I went wrong with that. But 6-5, one fight fell out, so it was really like 13 fights, but then it turned to, matter of fact, it was 12 fights, then it turned to 11. So 6-5. But yeah, where I went wrong went 6-5. Let's get with the first one I went wrong on. So 6-5, 6 of 11. Where I went wrong, but first one was 135 in our first bout, Ronnie Lawrence versus Sajiku Kakramanov, and I'm seeing the trend that the first fight the dog always seems to win, or not always, but has been winning more often than not. The dog has been winning in the first fight on the card. So that kind of scares me for the next card because I'm actually liking the favorite a whole lot in the next card. So kind of scares me. Lawrence, I didn't put too much confidence in Lawrence. I'm not saying I put no confidence. I think I was high or average, but definitely I knew not to put lock on Lawrence. I knew how, with Sajiku Kakramanov, I knew he was good, but I'm like, I still don't know how quite good he is, and I see some weakness I thought Lawrence could exploit. But clearly, Kakramanov was a beat or two ahead of Lawrence every time. And in the clinch, that judo background was coming in heavy. He was able to get the position, able to get takedowns, and really beat Lawrence at his own game. So Kakramanov is clearly showing his skill and his game, and I think this dude's going to rocket up the division. So definitely going to have eyes on Kakramanov. I definitely think he could pile up a lot more wins. Then you kind of probably run into side Nurmagomedov again and some other people. And is he better than him now? That's be a test. I feel like he's definitely more complete than when he fought Nurmagomedov. So I think his striking has looked overall a little bit better than what Nurmagomedov has been doing lately. So things to be looking for. So, but bright future here for that kid right there. Still a bright future here for Ryan Lawrence. I just think he takes it as a lesson, not a loss, and he could be piling up wins and getting back up in the division. Dude has a good skill set. Kakramanov was just better. Was better at the same skill set. He did his own skill set against him and did it better. So this guy shows the wrinkles, but I think with that one is where I went wrong in the next sense. I could look more into Kakramanov, study him a little more, look at more into his background, and maybe look at him and certain more. Like I'm repeating myself on a broken record, but could have examined him more in like certain situations that more so than just what one opera situation, but more situations over just more fights and how he dealt with those. But again, the one situation I did see, I didn't see the greatest addressing. I seen him respond well. I seen his takedown defense look solid. I hadn't really seen too much of his takedown offense, so at least at night against really stellar competition. So, and I really didn't get Nurmagomedov also plays a factor too, because he could have clearly looked better against another guy doing a similar thing. But then you're going against a Nurmagomedov, and not just any Nurmagomedov. I feel like Umar is probably gonna go on to be the best Nurmagomedov, to be honest. But he might gonna suffer some losses. Well, they gonna say could be better just by rule of O's, but skill wise, I feel like he gonna evolve and be way better than Khabib ever was, in my opinion. But that's just my take. But anyway, first L right there, Kakramanov. Next fight, very next fight, another L, Kendi Nchukwu versus Carl Roberson. I really didn't look at too much in the size, so I'm just well, I did see the size, like 6'4" or whatever. I knew he was big, but he looked 6'8" out there. He was big, but Carl Roberson was smaller. Like Carl Roberson looked small for the weight class, and Nchukwu looked big for the weight class. So size was a big factor. And between the fight when it's not even like that clear, size doesn't matter. Unless the guy is so much more skilled, size doesn't matter. Unless the guy has a style advantage, or like this guy a big tall lurch, but he got poor wrestling, or a big tall lurch that can't take no one down, and like a Stephen Struve and get chinny. Size matters, and size matters heavily. So, and I also feel like Carl Roberson has some mental things he need to get over because he could afford a different style, but he played right into Nchukwu's style, and ultimately he got dominated for it. But when his skills are relatively and level is relatively even, size doesn't matter. That's what everything. Like you got a good small guy and a good big guy. Good big guy gonna be better. If there is a great small guy versus a great, I mean, a decent big guy, the great small guy gonna win. But if they both decent around the same level, lean to the skills instead, not necessarily advantage for either guy. You lean to the bigger guy, the actual light heavyweight. So that was a clear read there. But thought Roberson was a good dog. I didn't really trust Nchukwu's power, but he had enough power, and he really was just more about size and domination in this one than actual really power. But hey, he working on putting finishes behind him at a decent level and not just being a decision fighter valiant for. He has put away, or like most of his wins have been put away, but he hadn't necessarily been committing that much power as he has been showing as of late. So improvements for Nchukwu, young fighter, and he's come along nicely. Still don't think this ain't cause get super hyped about him just yet. I still think he needs to move laterally, pick up like 3-4 wins, and then start looking to move here. But then again, this is not lightweight. You got like 40 guys in the division. You can't really move laterally too much because you're going to fight 2 fights. You win 2 fights and you are a top 10, top 5 or something. So I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it's not that far off. But anywho, next fight I got wrong was in between. I got to win with Onama, but everybody got to win with Onama. That was a lock pick. That was a lock of the night as far as the fight that had the least chance of going the other way. But the next fight had in the middleweight division, Cody Brundage versus Treyshawn Gore. This was my 3rd L of the night. And with this one, I ain't gonna really hold this one too much against what am I saying? I ain't gonna hold this one too much against myself. This is one of the matches where I did do some risky parlays and throw Gore on them, like risky, like low value, just throw some money out there, just put some people that don't really have the greatest chance of winning, but I feel at least a little bit of confidence in them type of parlays on Gore, like low confidence ones. But yeah, but outside that, as far as picking perspective, prediction perspective, Gore wasn't one of my highest confident people. So, and the matchup I saw with this one between Brundage versus Gore, I just thought Brundage was one-dimensional, but he clearly showed he's not the case. And even then, I mean, he hasn't really shown to be not that one. I mean, he obviously not one-dimensional, but as far as relatively not one-dimensional against very skilled guys, this showed that Gore's level is not there yet. And Gore had not really shown to be there yet, but I just feel like Gore had power, had natural athleticism, some wrestling as well, and could neutralize Brundage wrestling, and then with his power, be able to touch Brundage on the feet. But it almost ended up being the other way around. Or really, I feel like Gore didn't respect the striking of Brundage. You know, he was throwing blind leg kicks, and he got countered, rocked, and Brundage put him away quickly. That's what the case. But I feel like with Gore, he should really just hope to like this cut ties with the UFC for now, go on a regional scene, pile up some wins over some scrubs, work his way up slowly, develop his skill set, then come back. Because right now, he's going to get eaten alive in the UFC. He's going to get eaten alive. That's just the simple fact of it. If he stick around the UFC, he's going to get eaten alive, not going to have no chance to develop, and losing, getting knocked out by Brundage, that's his all she wrote right there. Like, you get knocked out by him, the actual strikers in the weight class going to knock you out. It ain't like you're wrestling and grappling so good that you could really find a guy in the weight class you're going to be able to wrestle and grapple. It's not like you're a guy that's a pace fighter. So if you're a wrestler grappler, that's not a pace fighter unless you like this really locked down, powerful grappler. As a matter of fact, this area really ain't that successful to be a power lockdown grappler. You got to be one of those Kobe Covingtons, Rob Davalishvili or Davalishvili or whatever his name is. But you got to be one of those guys that could, continue to put guys down. These guys have worked so much to prove their takedown defense and work so much to get back to standing. So you could be powerful, get a good takedown, strong takedown, slam them, break the cage or whatever the case may be. But these guys are working, wiggle their way back up. You got to be on them, never stopping this, breaking them down till they lose the will to get up. It's not just one powerful takedown. Some guys are still able to do that a little bit, but more recently, there's been guys that can take you down as many times as you want to be taken down. But yeah, his skill set ain't there yet. He need to take a huge step back. Brundage, good day, shows some wrinkles. I think he can stick around the UFC. I still kind of think the same thing about him, but I definitely think he can pile up some wins. Wrestling is always going to be an issue for a lot of these guys. Striking, but he's still, to me, a guy that's very much basic. It's a bunch of Brundages out there, and there's a lot of little grapplers. They got a little bit of hands to them in the middleweight division right now. A lot of them. But hey, Brundage got a chance, and I mean, he's still young in his career as well, so definitely look to see some advancements from him. But impressive win. But ultimately, I still kind of see him in the same category. But I can't say, oh, he's one of them. You got to respect the hand. He got some power, and he knows how to land it. He's decently sharp with it. But got to see it tested against a more credible competition, but nonetheless, he showed that wrinkle. Now to the next fight. So that was third one. Anthony Shevchenko versus Cody Casey. I got this one right, but I'm just gonna mention it. Close fight, could have went either way. As a matter of fact, this one I really don't care how it went. I'm just glad that Shevchenko won and got me a win. And I did say decision, I did say close, so really almost super perfect. But yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that one. Close, could have went either way. Ain't gonna be too high on one. Probably would have been smarter to say split decision and bet on us. So split decision process be very crazy. And a lot of these fights be looking like split decision written on them, then they end up split decision and like nobody be betting on them. But it's all these fights that look like this should be, you gotta throw some split decision money on that. But anyway, that's a mistake to not throw split decision money on a fight that close and between two inconsistent fighters like that. That was the lock bet, split decision on that one, but that's a mistake. So to not bet on that, throw some change on that. Then the next fight we had in the bantamweight division, Zahabi versus Ricky Tercios. And this was my fourth one I got wrong, or was it fourth? Fourth, let me see, fifth. Oh yeah, I got 5 wrong. Why am I thinking I got 6 wrong? So my 4th wrong is Zahabi versus Ricky Tercios. And with this one, I thought Tercios would be able to throw out volume and actually land the volume. He did throw out volume, but he did more damage to the cage than he did to his opponent. Like, did a lot of stomping, did a lot of grunting, did a lot of punching the air. Like, he did more damage to the air, and he did more damage to the ground. He did more collateral damage than he did damage to his opponent. So, yeah. I don't know what Ricky Tercios was on. I don't know if he was feeling himself too much, or if he was bothered by the technique of Zahabi, that he just tried to grunt and throw him off his game, but it wasn't working. By the way, he did the volume, didn't land, did a lot of stop, did a lot of grunting, and didn't have a lot of actual substance. If he would have maybe landed some of those shots and put up that volume, he could have beat Zahabi and probably would have beat Zahabi, but I don't know where his mental game was. But for me going forward, it's definitely going to make me look the other way of Tercios. And I already see him beating a lot of guys if he's fighting like that. I mean, he could find opportunities. There's a lot of scrubs out here in these lower weight classes, to be honest. People act like these lower weight classes are so good, but I feel like a lot of them have so many scrubs in these weight classes that Tercios is going to be able to stick around. They do have a whole lot of scrubs. Yes, they got some real high-level technique, but they got a whole lot of scrubs. A whole lot of scrubs. And that's a fact, Jack. There's a whole lot of scrubs in these lower weight classes. A bunch of mini midget bums. Yeah. A lot of scrubs in that weight class, in the lower weight class. But anywho, how I feel about this one is, well, I'm already said how I felt about this one. But yeah, Tercios probably going to pick up some wins. They probably going to match him up nicely with somebody in the next fight. And you're going to get it together. Probably still make the same mistakes, but be able to etch out a win, going against a less technical fighter, just by, probably going for some takedowns and actually landing some strikes, because the other guy ain't going to be as hard to hit, or probably not going to move at all, probably going to come right to him. So you better get in that sloppy barroom style fight that would probably favor him more, and probably just be the outworking, outgrinding, out-hard the opponent, and then be like to be a thousand wins. But wait for it, he should be cut. I know he's better than that, or at least when given to the right opponent, he's better than that, but that was disgusting. Zahabi on his side, still see some of the similar flaws from him, but hey, he didn't let the stuff get a problem for him. I think that was never an issue. I think it was his lack of output and lack of, that extra drive, which he didn't need, because the opponent was literally punching the air instead of punching him, so he just could stay at the same pace and beat him just by being the one actually landing shots. But I don't know, so I really don't say nothing new about Zahabi. It wasn't like a stellar performance. It was just an odd performance from Tercios. But yeah, I don't know. Like, that whole fight is the whole fight is a question mark. That fight scratch. It's a head scratch. Like, where what's going on with you? Where's your coaches at? Where's your mom at? Where's your dad at? Like, where's your mental at? Then next fight, we had Michael Johnson versus Jamie Mullarkey. I got this one right. Well, at least the right opponent. Right winner. It was in the stoppage. It was in a submission. Mullarkey won. That was what I got right. But this is a fight that should have went to Michael Johnson's way. I'm going to take the W. Because just as a fight went the wrong way so many times, and I had picked the right opponent, but the judges had this wanted to be on BS so many times. So I can't take those W's, because obviously the judges saw it the other way, and that's the official rating. So I'm gonna take this W. Y'all gonna take W's away from me, I'm gonna take whatever W you give me. So a win by any margin, by any robbery, is still a win. But also this is me admitting and holding that Michael Johnson did win. Michael Johnson should have won, but the judges be on BS. But this time the BS was in favor of me. But yeah, that was that fight. But good fight. It was a very close fight, to be honest. It wasn't no complete robbery, But Michael Johnson, I feel, did enough to get his hand raised and like definitely took away that third round. In a tight matchup, that third round was a crucial round. So I feel like that should have been the deciding factor. But judges clearly saw it other ways, or at least 2 of the 3 judges saw it other ways. And so yeah, now we go to our 5th and final loss on the night. Jared Vanderhoff versus Chase Sherman in the heavyweight division. And anytime Chase Sherman is getting a win, it's a bizarre night. And I mean, he capped off my losses for the night. But anytime he gets a win, it's a bizarre night. Not Jared, but I guess the simple thing with this one is you can't put confidence in a scrub just because he's fighting a bigger scrub. Unless it's like a great stylistic matchup or something, or some history that greatly favors the guy you're leaning to, you can't put any good confidence in a scrub to beat a scrub or a scrub ever. Like, insulting the fighter, but it is what it is. Man, for like a scrub, he lost to Chase Sherman, got knocked out like 3rd round. It is what it is. But yeah, I think I put too much confidence. I definitely put too much confidence in Vanderhoff. Chase Sherman, I feel like another thing he got up for the fight. Like, he did what he had to do, put the work in, and fought hard for that win, and he got that win. And he definitely wasn't looking the same as the guy that lost those other fights, but still, Vanderhoff should have been able to beat him, but he got outfought. Sherman was the better man on the night, but that's all I'm going to say. As far as what I could do about this going forward, don't put confidence. I feel like this lesson you're going to learn time and time again, and I have learned time and time again. Just because the scrub is fighting a bigger scrub, don't put the confidence in them because he's fighting a bigger scrub. Oh, that scrub is on like a 5-fight losing streak, can't get a win. But this other scrub, like, got to win, but he's not like he's doing too much better either. He might look marginally better, but the other guy. Anywho, that's a simple thing. I'm not even going too much at it. Just can't really pick a scrub. Just don't put too much confidence in a scrub. Like I said, even if you find a bigger scrub, don't put too much confidence in a scrub. A scrub is going to be a scrub, but don't join in the scrubbery. Kind of leave that side. Or something. Bet the over, throw props on it, but don't put any actual confidence in any man in that scrub fight. Because scrub fights going to be scrub fights. But yeah, that's the fight right there. Those are fights, the losses, the lessons to be learned in there. And like, let's jump to the main event. Let's talk about that briefly. RDA versus Fiziev. RDA didn't do the high kick switch to a axe kick because he would have knocked out Fiziev, as McGregor says, or whatever the case may be. But that didn't happen. But RDA actually put up a great performance. It was a very competitive fight up until it wasn't. So. But I feel it definitely did more for Fiziev than it did for RDA. RDA trained, relocated his family, all that stuff. He was able to compete with a guy that's on the come up right now, but ultimately wasn't able to seal the victory and was stopped in the fight. But good performance, showed that he's still capable in the weight class. But it's still pretty clear that he's not going to be that guy that's going to excel and really fight for the belt or win the belt. Well, he probably could possibly still fight for the belt, given his resume. And given how good he is, he could find some matches and get his way to a title shot. Like, it's very possible, especially if the champion is active and running through everybody, and he's able to stay constant, and get some wins together. Then he could jump over some people and get a belt. Get a title shot. And I feel like he's game for anyone in the weight class, but ultimately he's only getting older, coming off now a TKO loss. But I feel like he can rebound. But again, decent future ahead of him if he wants to continue. But career, this definitely takes some slows him down a lot, I feel. But that's my take. Fiziev, like I said, I feel this fight does more for him because it showed that he didn't go full 5 rounds, but he damn near went 5 rounds. Like, he went a long fight, got taken down, was able to get up and, be in some bad positions or be in positions that we haven't really seen him in too much. And he was able to stay composed in there with a world-class BJJ guy, been in there with a former world champion that's still game enough and be able to hold his own, more than hold his own, and to be able to seal the fight. Like, without the judges' scorecard being known, you could see this fight as being very close between. Like, there's definitely cases that judges could try to they wouldn't lean to RDA, but RDA might have been down 1 round or something, or 2 rounds or something, but still a very close fight. And Fiziev just eliminated all that by putting the stoppage on it, staying calm, staying composed, seeing an opportunity, seizing the moment, and being able to capitalize and drop RDA and finish him off. So, showed the ability to go around, showed the ability to stay calm and composed, showed the ability to fight at a high pace. So he's going around, he's going at a pretty good pace, being a fight with grappling involved, and Not just a fight where he's just able to stay in his element. Like, anybody can have good cardio when they're doing their element, like a grappler. That's what they do. A striker striking, that's what they do. But a fight involving grappling, striking, a lot of, pretty high pace against a high level guy, to be able to do that, that's only going to elevate him and make him look better, make him even better his next fight out, depending on who they match him with. But even then, like, this is a scary thing for anybody that has to face him going forward, like seeing that he's getting that experience and getting it on a win as well. Like, in a definitive win is that as well. So, good performance from Fiziev. RDA, good performance for him as well, but both got two different futures ahead of them. RDA, I feel like, is definitely more so in the past as far as accomplishment, like it's his peak, but Fiziev's peak is still on a climb. He's still charting it out. But that's the video. Thanks for watching. And again, 6-5 on the night, 6 of 11. Gonna kill it more next card. Join the Discord. About to post before I go wrong video. Gather some more intel, get some of y'all DOS as well in there, give some of my pre-DOS on some of these upcoming fights. Well, upcoming fights on this next card. And again, in Discord, because I think I'm gonna go crazy. Well, not crazy, too crazy, but I'm gonna do some a little bit interesting, or do some little interesting things for this next card, and really try to bring in the bank for this next card. I got my eyes on some things. And that's the video. Like, comment, subscribe, and join the Discord. Peace.